Commission meeting, roll call, please.
Case,
Here.
Stein,
Here.
Hanson,
Here.
Stonebarger,
Here.
Olson,
Here.
Culhane,
Here.
and Dolly is absent.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Olson, second. Mr. Stein, all in favor of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes of the September 7th, 2017 minutes meeting. I need a minute, please. A motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Kays, second, please.
Second.
Mr. Culhane, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 3, resolution amendment section 210207 of the ordinances.
So these three ordinance amendments that will be before you today are what we discussed as new business last meeting. And I made the changes that we had come to, and these new resolutions reflect that. So resolution 2017-28 is clarifying that incomplete construction projects will lapse with lapsed building permits are public nuisances. And the change that we came to with that is saying any lapse of a building permit when construction of the permitted building has not been completed shall render the building a public nuisance and unlawful for not being completed within a reasonable amount of time. And that's where we're at with that one.
Okay, with that, I'll open the public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against the change? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion for discussion purposes.
So moved.
Mrs. Olson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Stein. Is there any Mr. Kay, sorry. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to clarify the form, excuse me, that I presented after discussion. The idea is to take out all of the text that doesn't affect an amendment, so it doesn't need to be published. And then the illustration that is presented is how I would suggest ordinances come to you in the future, so you'd have that broader contextual presentation of the ordinance, so that in this action, what we'd actually probably should do for the record is move to amend the document that was submitted in the agenda to replace it with this shorter one, vote on that amendment, and then vote on the underlying motion. That's the illustration. The
This is the, up here. They didn't get a copy.
oh, okay. I'm sorry.
They did for 2017-29,
Okay.
but for 2017-28, this is the one.
So the illustration in our packet is not correct. We were given a revised illustration here, and it's your advice that we vote to accept this and then vote to approve the ordinance?
No. When I was speaking, I didn't realize you hadn't been presented with this 28, okay? This 28 takes the place of the 28 that's in the agenda. It says exactly the same thing. It just doesn't have all of the language that is not affected by the amendment in there. So this is what I would suggest you adopt. The illustration, which will be presented in this one and in the next one, in 29, is just to show in the context of the broader ordinance the actual language changes.
How it fits and where it is in the ordinance itself?
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
I would make a substitute motion to move on ordinance resolution number 2017-28 as delivered by staff and to be forwarded to the city council
I don't think we should do a substitute motion. I think we should have an amendment to the
Okay.
existing because it was the second time it come before the board. Or the planning commission, sorry.
So, motion to amend, the motion to approve?
Yes.
Motion to amend the motion to approve by accepting resolution number 2017-28 as presented today and not within the previous packet.
Correct.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Second.
Hey, Mr. Olson, Mr. Hanson. Okay, so we have a motion to amend. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we need a motion to approve, right?
Motion to approve has already been made. This would be a motion to approve as amended.
Oh, that's correct, yes. I'm sorry. We need a vote on the motion to approve.
Right.
Yep.
So is there a motion to approve the amendment?
No, not a motion to approve the amendment. A
Motion
motion
to
to
approve
approve
the-
as amended.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve as amended?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Case. All right. Now we're,
You want discussion?
yeah. Is there a discussion?
Basically, what my understanding is the format that we received and we discussed last month was in our packets, about 2 pages to discuss the change of being less than a paragraph. By approving it in this fashion and making the motion to the city council, and they do it, so when we publish it in the newspaper, this is all that gets published as opposed to the 2 pages that basically cover the same thing. It's language we don't need to, or costs we don't need to incur.
Exactly.
Clear as mud. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 28 is put to bed. Now resolution 2017-29.
And now we'll go about 2017-29 the same way. So first we'll amend which resolution that I handed out to you guys with the new formatting, and then we'll approve it.
We gotta move to approve first, then amend. Gotta move to approve
Okay,
the
back-
packet
flip-flop
item,
that.
right?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2017-29.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
N-
Opposed?
No.
Now we need another motion to
Amend
Amend,
the resolution.
yes.
Do I have a
And-
motion?
I can give you guys background on it.
Well,
too.
let's get to, yeah,
Make a motion, then we'll have discussion.
okay. So,
So is there a motion to amend the resolution?
No, I made a motion to move,
approve.
move it on, to get it on the table. And now Roberts would tell us now we have to amend the motion to approve as it's going to be. So, Liam, do you want to make the motion?
Yes, so moved.
I will second Liam's motion.
Okay, now, is there a discussion? Randy?
Okay. So for resolution 2017-29, now last week when we had discussed, or not last week, last meeting, when we had discussed this, we had talked about referring to Title 21 of the revised city ordinance, or ordinances of the city of Watertown as this ordinance. So we just clarified that here and after it would be called this ordinance, so we didn't have to change it to Title 21 each time. We ended up keeping that instead of 60 days, it would now be 30 days. And that is for such appeals shall be taken within a reasonable time, not to exceed 30 days. And that was just for consistency. We decided to keep that. the same as proposed previously. And then, in any case where the holder of a conditional use permit issued under city zoning ordinance has not instituted the use or begun construction as applicable within 1 year of the date of approval, the permit shall be null and void. Similarly, any such conditional use upon its cessation or abandonment for a period of 1 year will be deemed to have been terminated. And we decided to cross the language of "and any future use shall be in conformity with zoning ordinance" because that's understood. And then we struck the proposed language of variances granted by the Board of Adjustment shall be treated as non-conforming uses pursuant to Chapter 2104 and shall otherwise lapse in the construction if the construction authorized by the variance has not yet begun within 1 year of the date of approval. And change it to a variance granted by the Board of Adjustment shall expire 1 year from the date upon which it becomes effective if no construction authorized by the variance has commenced. Upon written request to the Board of Adjustment and prior to variance expiration date, a 1 year time extension of the variance may be granted by the Board of Adjustment. And that was language requested by the board. And those are the changes with 2017-29.
Ken?
So, what would be the process then? If somebody writes us a letter and sends it, does it gotta go just like a regular Board of Adjustment thing? They
Mike?
gotta pay the thing, go through all the notification to adjacent landowners and everything else, or can they just basically submit us a letter and we can bring it to a meeting and take care of it as
Okay,
new business?
you're pointing at,
Where it says within 1 year time frame extension may be granted by the Board of Adjustment. I'm trying to figure out what the terms is for the board to hear that.
oh, that, I would take that to have to follow the same process as a regular variance request.
So we'd have to go through the collection of the fees, the total notification to adjacent landowners, just like we would on any normal one.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I had, thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, resolution amending section 210404.
Now, I'd note that we don't have to go through the circus because we have a short little ordinance, and that the last circular amendment process that we did in the last action will be the last time that happens, at least while I'm here. Because they'll be in this format to start with.
Yep. So this one,
That might be 2 weeks.
we decided to not
No, Vince.
add the
You're gonna be able to
language. Let me find it here. That this language after notice by certified mail to the property owners may cause the elimination of such non-conforming use. We decided to keep that language, and the only thing that we changed on this ordinance is the clarity of discontinued or abandoned. And I think that reads okay. If such a non-conforming use is discontinued or abandoned for more than 1 year, the building official, after notice by certified mail to the property owners, may cause the elimination of such non-conforming use.
Okay, with that, I'll open the public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Is anybody here to make a motion?
Motion
for
to
discussion?
approve.
Mr. Kays?
Second.
Solson? Is there any discussion? Any comments from the legal staff?
Not this time.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, plot of Lot G, Caboose subdivision.
So these next 3 items, the plat of Lot G, the plat of Lot 4A, and the vacation of Lot 4A, all go together. We had to do them in 3 different steps, and basically it's cleaning up the platting of the alley near East Kemp, which I'll pull up on the GIS. So that's the area we're looking at, just south of the high school and lake area. So the petitioner is Tyler A. Brinka. He requests to vacate a portion of the alley right-of-way in the Soltz subdivision. The reason the petitioner is requesting vacation is because the alley is obstructed by a private residence and fence which render the area unsuitable for vehicular travel. The plats of Lot G of Caboose subdivision and Lot 4A of Soltz subdivision are adjusting the lot lines, still preserving the 10-foot alley right-of-way. The adjacent landowners are Casey and Catherine Lawrence of 11th Street Rentals. The plat of Lot 4A is showing that portion of the alley that is being vacated. So, with the portion of the alley that's highlighted in the green, yellow, and orange dashes, the plat of Lot G is taking a part of Casey Lawrence's property that will be part of the alley when it's replatted. And the dashed orange is the part of Lot 4A that will be vacated and added to Tyler Brinka's property. The yellow is what will be remaining, which is the 10-foot alley that exists today. And then the plat of Lot G in the green is dedicated to the city for public alley use. And then Lot G is also a dedicated utility easement, which is in the green.
So basically, this is the position of the current alley where it sits will not change. We're just doing a paperwork
Right.
change to make Lot G legal. Right now, their fence is in the alley,
Right.
and by Lawrence graciously allowing us to use 4 foot of his land, we can utilize that alley as it is, and we don't have to, the residents will see no change.
Right.
But now Lot G will be a legally saleable lot. Is that what we're saying?
Okay,
Well-
I'll dive in here a little bit. So, in the past, the alley was found to be improperly located. And so there was an effort to reconstruct the alley in its current location. But what subsequently happened was a permit was given to the house that's on Lot 4 to the south here. And feedback, sorry. Anyway, so this effort is to shift the alley over, make it whole. There we go. My wire has a bad spot in it. And leave that fence intact in its place. So,
But you're not changing the alley. You're just administratively making a change. The alley is going to stay exactly where it's at.
no, in effect, it will move.
The gravel
Yes.
road will
The
stay
impro-
exactly
impro-
where
yes,
the
the
gravel road
improvement-
is.
The improved portion of the alley will not be relocated. But what we are doing is accommodating, making sure that there's a 10-foot clear path through there because the fence was encroaching on the existing 10-foot path. So, and the landowner to the north agreed to give approximately 4 feet of area and dedicate that as alley and utility easement. So the net loss to the city and the public is 0.
So we are basically accommodating the owners of Lot 4. But I have a concern with a 10-foot wide alley and a 10-foot wide entrance into that alley. If that landowner would build a fence to the point of his property line, it would be darn near impossible to get a truck and trailer into that alley. So I would, if we're accommodating that landowner, I would like to see that landowner accommodate us by allowing a 10-foot easement or right-of-way so we can access that alley and make that turn coming off of Kemp Avenue, or setback. So he cannot put a fence up 10 feet from his property line on the eastern end. Do you understand what I'm talking about, Shane?
Yes, I am. The existing alley, just for clarification, the existing alley easement has never been greater than 10 feet. And so,
But when that alley was first built, that alley came straight out.
right, it came out in
corner.
a different
There was
location.
no turns on it. Now there's a turn on it, and if you're taking if he put a fence up to the eastern end of his property, I don't think you could get a truck and a trailer in there and make that turn in 10 foot.
That's a potential issue,
And
yes.
because we are accommodating him, because he has built on the
Okay.
public right of way,
We can seek that. I don't know,
I think it should be a contingent, personally, I think it should be contingent upon us granting this, that is there anybody here to speak before or against the property owner? Or for or against this, or is the property owner here?
No, they weren't gonna be able to make it. So you'd like to propose an access easement to the east of the entrance?
To the west of the entrance.
Oh, sorry, yeah, my bad, west. Off of Kemp.
Ken, would you be able, would you be able to put a fence in the front yard portion there all the way up to the edge of the sidewalk? You need a variance to do that?
They can go within 1 foot of the property line to start with, but then there's also a clear view triangle there, that the clear view triangle, though, wouldn't satisfy everything that John's trying to suggest.
Okay.
So even if it's not an easement, even if it's just a noted restriction that no fence can be built within 10 feet of the
Of the sidewalks.
southwesterly property line or something. Well, it's not so much the sidewalk that we're worried about, I think, is, yeah, the sidewalk per se, but it's actually the first 10, the short leg there on
To
the
make
east
the
property line
corner.
is to stay back there, so if somebody tries to turn in there, they
Turn
wouldn't
in that way.
tear out a fence or damage their vehicles or anything else, so. And maybe that could just be done by a note instead of an easement or something on the plat, I don't know.
actually, it looks like that right away where it's coming down at, I can't control the pointer on her portion, but this is wider. We could potentially make this approach wider so that you can turn in sooner.
Where are
as-
you?
We switched the screen.
To whose screen? Yours. I'm running the, okay, so this dimension here is wider than 10 feet, so if we,
Are we restricted by the state or something by getting too close to the corner? Isn't that why it was put back there to begin with?
we wouldn't be restricted by the state, it'd be our own jurisdiction.
What prompted it to move from coming into the corner itself to be moved back that far? What was the regulation on that?
I'm not sure.
Just speculating, if maybe it had something to do with the old rail parcel through there.
Well, this was just, Ken, this was just when they built that apartment building.
Yeah, well, they were talking about a street improvement along that 19th a few years back, and that was supposed to be something pretty quick, and at the time they were looking at the improvement plans for that, the actual entrance out onto whatever, what is
Came
that,
over here.
11th?
Yep.
Where they was using it, and they were told that at that time that they'd have to move it back over to where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can we violate that now if we couldn't violate it before, or what's?
I'm just speculating, and I guess I'll have to ask some questions, but my guess is that they built that entrance to accommodate what they thought was gonna be a 10-foot wide alley. It may not have dictated the width of the entrance. However, we would always try to push it as far away from the intersection as
Yeah, it's
possible.
functional as an alley now, but the problem
Right.
is if somebody decides, if they sell this house, the new owner comes in, wants to fence it,
Mhm.
I don't think he can get a truck and a trailer or a truck and a mobile home or whatever in there.
If you look on the plat of Lot 4A, it does say that the opening is 29.28 feet. The curb cut is narrower. But I wonder if that would be able to accommodate getting a truck and trailer in there,
What opening?
right here,
From where to where?
from Kemp. I guess I'll put a line on there where, if I can find where that tool is.
Well, from there to there, but still, if they put a fence down to their pin on the corner of their property, not on the sidewalk, but on the north of there, going right there. If they put a fence there, you can't make the corner, I don't think. I don't know. Does anybody else have a comment? Maybe I'm.
Well, my question is, if we take no action, what happens?
It goes to the council with no action, no recommendation.
Yeah, if it would still go forward to council. It would just have it, you guys do not recommend the approval.
Could you recommend approval with a deed restriction? Restricting the, or some sort of restriction, a miscellaneous document, something filed with the plat that says that there is no building rights or eligible building rights for that stretch of ground that you're talking about.
Yeah, you could, but one of the problems that you've got is defining it correctly, stating it precisely as part of the restriction at this point as it affects this gentleman. That could have been worked out. I mean, it's no different than any other plat with the restrictions that we have in place, but you work those out ahead of time as opposed to.
When will this be heard by the city council?
When's
October 2nd.
Is that something that would give time for staff to work that out with them prior to the city council?
I think so. We could even maybe look at, see if this plat drawing can be amended just to include an easement restriction along that point of the property.
And you might not need 10 feet, maybe you get it, I don't know.
Right. No, I do understand what you're,
But for the people that live back in that alley, I would not like their access to be restricted. And, it's not restricted now, but it could potentially be in the future.
So are you looking at an easement that would encompass an area like that red line?
Yeah, something similar to that.
And do you guys have an idea of how far out you'd like that to go? I'll look and. Right now where the curb cut is, it's 11 feet, and that red line that I drew is about 7.
I think your 10 works good.
yeah, I think we could pursue a 10-foot.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval to the city council, subject to staff working with the applicant to develop an easement regulating no construction in a Clearview triangle.
And can I suggest it, say easement or other property restriction?
So moved.
Okay, safe, I'm speculating here, but our agenda for council items gets developed tomorrow and Monday, Tuesday. If by chance I don't or they don't have time to react to this, most likely, then it would just simply move back to the second meeting in October, just for reference.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Cohen. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That was a motion to approve all three, right?
Is that okay if we do it that way, or should we do a motion and a second for each agenda item and then add that?
Yeah, each item needs its separate,
'Cause
approval.
they're all three separate resolutions.
So Lot G doesn't have anything to do with these setbacks, so it would be the Lot 4A.
Yeah, the language that you just proposed would be on the, lot 4,
4A and
4A, yep.
okay. What he said.
So do I have a motion to approve the changes to Plot G on the Caboose subdivision?
Motion to approve the changes to Lot G.
Mr. Cohen says a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Olson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Now, 4 and 4A, number, now do we need a motion for the vacation?
Okay, so the easement restriction should be on the,
Number 7?
plat of lot 4A.
Right.
The vacation is a completely,
Now, we need a motion to
different.
vacation of lot, the
Yep.
vacation of Lot 4A.
So moved.
Is there a motion?
Do you-
Miss-
Did you guys do?
We did 7 before we did 6.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Okay, proceed.
okay. Now,
Vacation of Lot
number
4A.
8, vacation of Lot 4A. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Case, seconded by Mr. Olton, or Mr. Hanson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there any new business?
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
Mr. Chairman,
Actually not 100%.
fly in the ointment. Did we have a public hearing on the vacation?
No.
No.
Is, open the public hearing on the vacation. Is anybody here to speak for or against the vacation?
Good catch.
Close the public hearing. Do we have to vote again?
That's an attorney question.
Yes.
Mr. Kays, would you,
I will resubmit my initial motion to approve.
Mr. Hanson, will you second?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That was good because we actually do have new business too.
Okay,
I
go
think.
ahead.
We need appointments for the joint board, or the joint jurisdiction board. And I believe we need 2. Sorry, this is so unorganized. Kate, or
That's the
Todd,
county.
do you want to give some background with that, with what you guys are looking for?
Currently, the Cottington County and the city of Watertown share zoning authority in an area outside of city limits. And the board makeup is of 3 county representatives and 2 city representatives. The city currently has Mr. Stein, and I believe former chair Mr. Shriver sat on that board. Was there an alternate too, or just the 2 of you?
Actually, it was Pat Shriver and Dennis Arnold
Dennis.
were the city representatives. I
Was it
was, or am,
alternate?
the alternate presently.
So basically, for that board to be complete, there would need to be 2 planning commissioners from the city of Watertown and to act on the board, and then 1 would be an alternate. So we need 3 appointments, but depending on if you're going to be the alternate, if you're going to move up in the world.
I make a motion Mr. Stein moves up and as a regular member of the joint zoning board, seems how he has so much experience.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Now we need to have another
Yeah,
full appointment and
Okay.
another.
Alternate?
Is there a motion for another member?
Well, procedurally, and that was actually our first representation on it, but the planning commission, or the planning commission board of adjustments chairman was one of the representatives from the city, so I would nominate you.
We don't necessarily have to stand on it.
I'm just saying, that's the way we did before, and if you did it in the past, then that's obviously the way we should do it going forward. So I'm nominating John Stonebarger for the other position.
Is there a second?
Second.
We need an alternate.
Oh, I'm gonna, do we need to vote on you first?
Well, let's
Then I do it all at once.
do it all at once.
Okay.
Is there a motion for an alternate?
For your information that are kind of new, the Joint Jurisdiction Board does not meet every month. It's
very
it's only, it might be you might get three meetings in a row and then not see each other for 4 months. And it's usually a single item. It's always done in conjunction with the Cottington County Zoning Board, so it's on a Monday night or during the winter or during the summer, and then usually Monday mornings during the winter months. I'm recusing myself. I don't have the ability to serve on that board, as Luke Muller is the zoning officer and he's also an employee of mine.
No, the next meeting for the Joint Jurisdiction Board is Wednesday, September 27th at 9 a.m. Okay. So do we have a appointment for an alternate?
I would nominate Jason Hanson as the alternate.
I would second that.
We have a motion for 3 appointees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other new business?
No.
And there is a meeting September 29th at 9 a.m.?
September 27th at 9 a.m.
September 27th.
Wednesday,
Where at?
the extension complex.
Now, is that a county planning commission or is that a joint planning commission meeting?
Yeah.
It's a joint, so they always put the joint jurisdiction items at the beginning of their meeting, and then once those are taken care of, then they'll proceed with their county planning and zoning.
Well, the only
So-
point I was going to make is that I've never been to one in the morning. I mean, and maybe it's just
It just so happens with things been going on this month, they had to move it to a Wednesday morning this month to
So are they
process applications.
Are they going to send out an agenda?
The
or
agendas
just-
are going out today.
Okay,
You
so-
should get one.
Okay.
So we'll get Luke the new appointees.
The county always provides that agenda to city staff, so we'll make sure that the appointees from tonight receive that.
Okay.
So, yeah, information that Luke had provided is usually 7:30 a.m. the third Monday during the summers, and then 9 a.m. or 12 p.m. the third Monday in the winter and fall.
And 7:30 p.m. It's-
I was going to say 7:30 a.m. is,
Yeah.
I'm
I
retired.
had AM. My bad. That's how the day's gone, I guess.
But yeah, it's got to be PM because, like I said, I've never been to one in the morning, regardless of the scheduling or whatever. So it's got to be 7:30 p.m. Sounds.
Yeah, they meet the same nights that city council meets, so.
Any other new business?
Nope.
Old business? Well, I'm getting there. Any
No,
other old
no
business?
Old business.
Executive session?
No. You can feel free to adjourn this meeting.
Would you like to make a motion?
love to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Camera.